You're listening to the Thrive Podcast, where every week we dive into a practical, tactical tip to bring you from a life of simply surviving to thriving. It's personal development for the everyday girl who is done with coasting through her days, done with feeling like she's missing out on the deeper meaning of her own life, and done with mediocrity once and for all. Because it's not enough to simply survive. You deserve to thrive. Welcome back to Thrive. I hope you're ready to go to church with TikTok's own Mama Lo, because she is preaching the power of positivity, and it's a message every heart needs to hear. Lo has gone viral on TikTok for her funny and relatable stories of motherhood, but also for her inspiring, empowering messages to start the day strong. She's a big believer in not letting bad moments make bad days, and it is truly an honor to have her here on Thrive. In today's episode, Lo shares real advice on what choosing positivity and joy in this world looks like without the fluffy stuff. She also shares her own personal favorite mantras and affirmations, and really speaks to the heart who's been feeling the need to shrink herself or get smaller for someone else's approval or validation. Lo brings the dynamite of a preacher with the heart of a best friend, and I just know you're going to love this conversation. And it just may be the pep talk you need to hear right now. Stay tuned through this conversation. Drop it 5 stars if you like what you're listening to. And now, welcome Mama Lo.
Hi, how are you doing, Erica?
I'm so good. Oh my gosh. I literally discovered your TikTok and immediately messaged you to see if you'd come on Thrive, because I low-key want to be your best friend.
We're already besties, girl. Like, let's get into it. I'm so glad that you invited me.
Your attitude in life is just so freaking good, and your energy is so contagious. I'm over here like slapping in the microphone, but for those of our friends listening in who have not yet been so fortunate to have you grace their TikTok feeds, introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Mama Lo, but most of my friends and my family affectionately call me Lauren or Lo. I am a single mama of a beautiful little girl named Hazley Rye. And I literally started my TikTok to make a video. And ever since then, it just kind of blew up. I made my first video just talking about things I wish I knew before I became a mom. And it's all like the funny things, like your boobs deflating, the kids eating stuff off the floor after you gave it to them for dinner, but no, we'll eat it 3 days later. And I literally made it to put it on Instagram. And I had a really good friend of mine named Marlon. He called me and was like, "Hey, have you seen your TikTok?" I was like, "God, no, I just made a video." I didn't even know I had put it for public view. And it had like 1 million views on there. I was like, oh my God. I started realizing that there were so many women and moms who really resonated with my message and just kind of wanted to laugh throughout motherhood because COVID, okay, I don't have to explain anymore. COVID, the way our world is right now, we just needed something to laugh at. And so I started doing TikToks about mom stuff. And then I had a little lull. I had a depression, to be completely honest. I was going through a really tough breakup, became a single mom out of nowhere. Hey, what's going on? COVID, single mom, got to buy a house. What am I doing? And it kind of threw me off. And then I got back on TikTok just to inspire others, and literally blew up again. And so this is kind of where I feel like my niche is, like, just to inspire women, men, moms, anyone who may just be going through a really tough time, and you just need that little boost, a little bit of energy to get through the day, because we got enough going on in the world. Let's spread some positivity. So that's a little bit about me.
And how beautiful is that too, that you literally were going through a hard time yourself and you still stood up and were like, you know what, I'm going to still show up and serve other people. And then that was just blessed tenfold for you. Like, that's so powerful for people that sometimes it's so much comes back to you when you're putting it out there for other people. So that's awesome. Awesome.
And I am such a believer. First and foremost, like I'm a believer in God. I am a Christian woman. Most of my life, all of my life, I will say I've been really rooted in my religion and my Christianity and my faith. But it really changed for me after I became a mom. It wasn't more so about religion, more so about relationship. And I really feel like God is like my best friend. Like, hey, bro, yesterday was really tough. Okay. If you could help me out today, just to make it a little bit easier. And honestly, I was having one of those conversations with him, and he just kind of put it on my heart, like, this is something that people need to hear. And so I was really anxious about posting literally the video that you saw me on, because it was just like, this is a little quirky. This is a little bit different than what I usually do, but hopefully someone can receive that message, because I was having a bad day. And I literally felt like, okay, Lauren, Lo, this is not a bad day. It's just a bad moment. Okay, girl, you got so many blessings. You've got your baby, you've got your health. You're alive this morning. Let's take this as a bad moment and not a bad day. And it's just been amazing ever since. And I just wanted to spread love, some positivity, because there's a lot of people who are having some really tough days nowadays. So it's just rough. It's rough.
Yes. Okay. Give us the gist of that TikTok if you remember it, because I feel like the energy in that is just so powerful. And I love that you said that felt divinely inspired, because I feel like that is so evident in watching it. Like I was just watching it and I was just like, I got goosebumps. I was like, wow, that was a moment. Like,
right.
So for people who haven't seen it yet, give us the gist of what that is.
Okay. So, in this particular TikTok, I literally am acting like I'm speaking to a good friend. Like it's the beginning of the day.
You could give it to us on the podcast. You could just talk to the people here. The floor is yours.
I'm just like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You say you're having a bad day. Oh, hold on, baby. Is it a bad day or is it a bad moment? And I honestly have this voice that comes out. This is my grandmother, because I feel like she's named, my daughter is named after her. Her name was Hazel. And she used to always say, baby, beloved, you all right? What's wrong with you? And so that's how I feel like I talk to all of my viewers. Like, what's wrong? Are you having a bad day or is it a bad moment? Let's decipher that for a second. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are you alive? Clearly you are, because you got on TikTok this morning. So let's look at that. Are you having a bad day or a bad moment? Because we can't let bad moments define our life. There's too much to live for throughout an entire day to look at a bad day and not realize that it's a bad moment. So whenever I'm speaking like that, that's literally, I feel like it's my grandmother coming through my bones, my ancestors who are like, girl, there's so much more to life. There's so much more to live for and be happy for. And you can sit here and wallow in your sadness, or you can get up and realize, hey, this is a bad day. It sucked. This was tough. And most bad days are really a lot of bad moments. A lot of bad moments that accumulate over days, months. Listen, I done been there, okay? I done been where the bad moments was like, okay, they're piling on. I need a good moment in just a second. But then when I realized, okay, I have a good moment right now. Like, I'm alive. I can hear myself. I can see my child. Or even if you're missing those faculties, like I know I had a lot of people on my TikTok who were like, well, I'm blind, or I can't hear, or what have you. I guess my biggest thing was that you have to find the positive, because you can list a whole bunch of negatives if you want to. If you really sat there, it takes just as much energy to list your negatives as it would be to list your positives. So which list will you make today? And so whenever I started saying that, it really started changing people's mindset. Like, wow, like, I guess I didn't think about it like that. Like, yeah, like you could sit here and be negative and think of all the negative things, but how much more power and strength can you gain for yourself if you start listing the positives? And so that's kind of like where we started. And that's how a bad moment, bad day, the TikTok kind of just went viral out of nowhere. So that was a good day.
Oh, yeah. But it's so freaking true. And I've said it before. I'm like, it's really all about perspective. And whether your glass is half full or your glass is half empty, the volume inside is exactly the same.
Absolutely.
So for people who it's like people will say, oh, it's toxic positivity or it's too whatever. I'm like, the difference is you're being real. Like you're not ignoring the negative things that happen in life.
Absolutely.
You're not saying hard things don't happen. You're not flying over them or brushing past it or just going, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like it'll be better. You're not ignoring it. You're actively choosing where you put your focus. You're not saying it doesn't
Yes.
exist. You're still letting the bad things are still there. None of us can deny them. None of us can ignore them. Like, just turn on the news today. There you go. Bad things left and right. Like,
yes,
horrible,
yes.
tragic, awful things, but there is still good. And I think it's so important that you are teaching people how to shift their focus like that, because bad things are always going to be there. Like, bad things are going to keep on happening. That's just the world that we live in, because this is the world. This isn't heaven. Like, it's just, it's going to keep happening. So, yeah, I think that's so good.
And I guess the biggest thing was that I speak not only for just like, and I hate it because the toxic positivity, I've seen that so much. And I guess my biggest thing on any platform that I'm a part of, like, no, you're going to get the raw and the dirty. You're going to get the moments where, like, I literally on Instagram today, I posted, there's like a sound bite that says, post a moment where everyone thought you were really great, but it was one of the lowest moments of your life. And that was one of my lowest moments, was during my maternity photo shoot. Like, everybody was like, oh, you look so beautiful. You look amazing. And what's funny is that was probably the lowest moment of my life. You're pregnant, you're about to have your child, and you should be excited. But I was having a very difficult time. And I think whenever I am able to make my content relatable, that's what helps people to understand, like, no, I am not a positive Nancy every day. There are some days that I want to turn into venom and bite people's head off. That's exactly what I want to do some days. However, I had to really work and dig to really change my mindset. And there's such a peace about it when you are able to change your mindset and look at things in a different light. I'm not saying be positive Nancy every day. No, that would just drive you absolutely insane. But what I am saying is that if you can take a moment to take a step back, to look at certain things that are going on in your life and look at them in a different light, it helps you get through those really bad moments a lot easier. So I'm really sick of the toxic positivity. If you just want to be ugly and nasty all day, go sit in the corner by yourself. Okay. I just don't have time for it. I got too much to live for. I got to bathe this child and make sure she stay alive. I don't have time.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. I saw one of your TikToks recently too that really hit home for me, because it was like truth raining down. You said, it's not a race, it's a journey. And that being positive and choosing positivity is this journey of self-discovery, which I thought was so good. So talk to us about that and the small choices that you started making so that it leads you to this place of positivity and more joy every day. Because I think people forget that, like, it is a series of active choices to get to this place. It's not just going to like hit you in the face when you're walking down the sidewalk.
God, I kind of wish that it was. I would have maybe preferred that. But I would say literally after like this huge debacle in my life where everything started to fall apart, I was really negative. Like, life is just trash. Like, I use trash all the time. Like, life is trash. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. I'm really frustrated and I don't know how to necessarily move on. And my emotion from my therapist, and that's one thing that I was going to say, is that I went and sought help, because I knew that me trying to take those first steps, I wasn't equipped with the tools that I needed. I knew what I was doing was not helping. And so if you want to change something, sometimes you have to change your behaviors and change your tactics. So first thing I did, I went to see a therapist, and she helped me realize that a lot of things that would really be pressure points for me, I was ignited with anger. So I'm just like this little fireball running around, going off, ticked off with the world, pissed off, don't want to talk to anybody. And I had a moment where I was with my daughter and I snapped on her for absolutely no reason. And that was my turning point to be like, okay, this is going to have to be a journey, because one, she doesn't deserve this type of energy that I'm giving her because of things that are going on in my life. Although she's involved, that has nothing to do with her. So the journey started from there. Whenever I started to realize it was affecting the people that I love the most. And whenever I realized that, I was like, okay, this is where you have to make that decision, because it's also bigger than you half the time. Half the time, I think a lot of people think that changing your positive mindset is all for you. No, it's about the people that love you and are a part of your life. And they are affected by your attitude as well. As you can tell, most people who are angry and have a bitter spirit, nobody wants to be around them. And then they affect the people that are with them all the time. Hence the reason I'm always yelling, remove yourself or remove toxic people from your life. So it's a journey for you because it's not only affecting you, but it's also affecting everyone else. So the first step that I had to make was realizing that I had a problem. And two, what am I going to do to change that problem within myself? Because if I continue, I'm only going to turn into the toxic people that have made me the way that I am today. So taking those steps where you're going, whether you're going to therapy, whether you're seeking spiritual counsel, whatever the case may be. And then I think just acknowledging that you do have an issue, that you are sad, that you are angry, that you do have a negative view on what's going on in your world at the time. That's the first step. And do not think that it happens overnight. No, this is months and months of, let me just work through this. Let me look at it from a different perspective. Let me change my lenses on how I'm looking at things. And as I progressed, I got better at it. I got better at removing things that were disrupting my peace, removing negative thoughts that made me hinder where I wanted to go. And once I was able to look at those things and acknowledge them and use the tools that I started to use and form for myself, my journey became a lot smoother. Am I still on the journey? Absolutely. There was somebody who crossed me over yesterday and I was about to go back about 3 months prior to what I was doing. But we made it and we're positive and we keep going. So don't think that the setbacks aren't going to happen, because they are. They're going to be, I would say on my journey, I've been pushed the most. When I've been trying to get to that certain point or move on into a different realm in my life, that is when I have been challenged the most. And I honestly feel like that's a God thing too. Like if you're going to be preaching it, you better live it, girl. So whatever you've got going on, make sure that you are prepared for the battle that I'm about to present to you. So.
Absolutely. And there's two things with that too, is I've always thought too, besides, I've heard it said before, people were like, be careful, because if you pray for patience, God's going to give you, you're not just going to magically get patience. God's going to give you opportunities to practice patience. So it's going to come in one way or the other. Or on the flip side of that, if you're on this journey and it is a divinely guided journey, there are people, AKA the devil, who do not like when you are on a divinely guided journey. So you might be tested even more, because that's called spiritual attack. So things are going to come at you. Yes, it's so true though. It's so true. Yes. Like it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows, even when you decide that you are going to try your darndest to get towards sunshine and rainbows. Like it's just, it's not, there's going to be hard things that pop up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am a firm believer in that as well. I could preach about that day and night, because I feel like every time I make a decision to do the right thing, it's like the devil be on my shoulder, like, girl, just forget all that you're working on. Just go off. No, devil, back up. You blocking my blessings. Move. So I literally, it's been a battle, but it's been the best. It's been the best peace that I've ever experienced in my life.
Truly. Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm sure you know this too, but I've also heard it said that if you are lukewarm in your faith journey, the devil doesn't really care as much about people who are lukewarm, because you're kind of right where he needs you to be. He cares about the people that are on fire and really hot for Jesus and hot for what God has put on their heart to do. So he's going to come after the people who he needs to peg down a little bit. He's not going to go after the people that aren't really on fire to begin with. So it's a sign you're doing something right. Exactly. Yeah. I also love though, in that TikTok, I think it was that one where you were also mentioning like setting your day up with the little things that you know bring you joy, like making your bed and putting on the music that you know brings you joy, opening your window in the time when the light hits it just right, like really doing the small things that you can to add more joy and to add more positivity. Because if you know that it's going to put you in a better, more positive and healthier headspace, then why would you not do that?
Exactly. My dad is a former soldier. Army soldier, retired colonel. And one of the things that he always emphasized, and I think he learned it from a Navy admiral, or a gentleman in the military, he used to say, make up your bed. Just make up your bed. And when my dad used to say it when I was younger and growing up, I was just like, I'm gonna make it up. I'm gonna get there. But as I got older, I think it has so many different meanings now. Like, just make up your bed. It's the first step, the first task to get you through the day. And when I feel like I'm accomplishing things, that makes my attitude, my mindset so much more positive. And so I started doing things that made me feel like I was accomplishing things. Because one of the biggest things that I felt was that I just wasn't reaching a certain level, or I was far behind. And those were just things that I was dealing with along my journey, besides the emotional as well. I just wanted to find some things that gave me little pieces of joy. So I know for a lot of people, they were like, well, thanks for giving us the tips to do in the morning. Okay, negative, Nancy. Great. I'm glad you took that message and went left, homegirl. But what I was trying to say is that you really just have to find things, even if it's minuscule, like making coffee and sitting and enjoying it for a second. If you want to open your windows, take a hot shower, take a hot bath for that second. Take that second as a little plus to your day. Add little positive moments to your day. And as they multiply, it's like, oh, well, you know what? That was a really crappy meeting, but that bath this morning, oh my God, it set me right. Or it looks beautiful outside today. Thank God, thank whomever you believe in, that I'm able to even enjoy this. So it's just those little positive moments that add up and change your outlook throughout the day. And I just feel like if people really took the time to enjoy the moment, enjoy the little things, your mindset will change completely, because there's so many little things that go on throughout the day that we just take as nuances and just don't even think about, that are just so beautiful and so magical. So I just had to slow down. I slowed down a lot to really realize and appreciate what I had going on at that time.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, people call them small things or call them the little things, but I feel like when you're really tuned into it, they kind of become the big things, because you're so much more appreciative when you are intentionally noticing all of the good around you. And I honestly think it makes it a little bit easier to navigate the actually big, hard things that then inevitably come up in all of our journeys, because you're just like, for then, as much as like we said, turn on the news, you don't really have a choice as to how you feel about all of that. It's all horrible. And I think everyone can probably agree with that. So you don't need someone, you don't need someone to like give you more bad things. There's already enough out there. You're going to find it no matter where you look. But if you're intentionally looking for other seemingly small things that are just a moment of appreciation, a moment of beauty, a moment of joy, or just whatever, it doesn't fix any of the bad things, but at least gives you that little reset of perspective, or like a little bit more joy, just so that we don't all walk around feeling horrible and depressed 24/7, which quite frankly, people could probably do nowadays.
Yes, especially with the climate that we're in now. Like, I just feel like COVID coming in through like a storm, and it just shifted our lives so much. And then it really forced people to really sit with themselves. And I think that's why I was pushing so hard to just spread some more positivity, because I can tell you right now, I had my daughter December 2019, before the firestorm of COVID. I was an educator, and I was supposed to go back to work. I was finishing up my maternity leave. I went back to work for a day. And then the next day they told me to go home, because they were like, we're closing the schools down. COVID is happening. I am such a people person. So I love being around people. I love talking. And I'm usually the jokester of whatever job I'm a part of. Don't know if that's good or not, but that's what I am. So whenever I was already out for 6 weeks, which is ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about maternity leave, but out for 6 weeks, come back home. And then I was not expecting to be at home from December all the way until the next August. And then even with me starting my new job, I have been at home. And so just that human interaction, and then you're by yourself all the time. You're watching the news because you're trying to figure out, can I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Do I get this shot? What kind of shot? Then there's all kinds of things with war and people dying left and right. It was becoming dark. And like, I noticed it even with me not opening my blinds. Like, I was literally living in a house that was dark with my thoughts, dark with the outside appearance. Everything was just very difficult. And then it just got to the point where I felt like I was drowning. I was just drowning in the sea of like depression, sadness, anger, all of that. I'm mad I can't go back to work. I'm mad I can't see my friends. I'm mad that I'm still here by myself with a baby for this long, and I am a working mom. So that was completely outside of my norm in the first place. And really trying to find some positive in that took me a while. But I knew I had to shift my mindset, because if I had just allowed that darkness, that ocean, to just keep enveloping over me, I was going to lose my mind. So I just was like, we're going to just have to talk on TikTok. Hopefully the people like it. If they don't, somebody going to like it. Somebody going to see that on For You page and just be like, oh, that was a really good message. And if I had one like, I was cool with that, because I was hoping that I could help somebody else. And like I tell so many people, half of the messages I say are messages that I say to myself. I literally wake up in the morning. Like I said, me and God, we're homies. Like, good morning. What's the message that you got for me today? And literally that is where my messages come from. And that is where I get that ounce of, okay, this is how we push through today. I get it from God, and I just push on forward and just present it to you guys. Like, hey.
What do you say to the woman who might be shrinking herself to get approval or validation from other people?
I did it for so long. I did it for a really long time. And I'll never forget one of my friends. Well, I guess I won't call them a friend anymore. One of my friends was like, you don't have to yell on TikTok all the time. Most people don't want to hear that. And it made me start shrinking. Like, man, maybe I am too much. Maybe my personality is too loud. Like, maybe that's not something that people want to see. I would shrink myself at work, not be too loud, not be too boisterous. I was always worried about how I was going to be perceived in different spaces. And it has been a battle for me almost all my life, because I've always had this big bubbly personality, and I never really understood how much, if people love it, they love it. And if they don't, they don't. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. And I would encourage any woman who feels like they have to shrink themselves. It is a disservice to you. And I hope that that resonates with them, because I want you to understand how much of an impact that you make. And regardless of who may perceive it in a different light, may like it, may not like it, you shrinking yourself is only detrimental to you, because you're not allowing yourself to be fully who you are. And you've been given different gifts and get different talents to be exactly who you are. So do not shortchange the world based on a couple of opinions. And if a couple of opinions are going to dictate how you are going to live, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Live and be who you are authentically all the time, even when it's uncomfortable, because then you'll be able to see who really is a supporter, who really do I deserve to give my love and my energy to. And then you'll also be able to see who do I need to snatch my energy back from, because baby, you don't deserve all this good, okay? I could give it to somebody who deserves it. So do not shrink yourself. And this is a message for me, because I need to hear it for myself, because I shrink myself sometimes, and then I have to get myself together and be like, girl, be who you are. Either they're going to love it or they're going to hate it. And whatever the case may be, I'm happy. Because you'll be happy with you.
Oh, I have goosebumps. It always brings me back to, I don't know who the heck said it, but it's an old saying, I think. And they say you could be the world's juiciest peach, and there's still going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. And it's so
literally
true.
I'm literally.
That makes me so angry that someone said that to you too, because for them to be like, you don't have to yell all the time. My gut reaction is, and you don't have to be on TikTok. So see ya. You can just exit.
Right.
See yourself out. Oh my gosh. What now I have to know, what are some of your personal favorite mantras or affirmations or anything that you repeat to yourself when you're feeling off?
Oh, um, what God has for me is for me. And that is something that just it literally kind of covers a lot of the different things that happen in my life. Because I feel like with so many different things that come at me, it's always going to be divinely placed, no matter if it's good or what I would consider bad. What God has for me is for me. And that can literally, if you want to change it, like what is for me is for me. Um, I guess my next mantra is that I have a choice. I make my own decisions. I have my own decisions. I have my own choice. And that is one of the biggest blessings I feel like you could have, because you can decide how you want to live your life, how you want to make decisions about how you'll handle situations that may arise. Like between those two mantras, and I probably say the first one, like what God has for me is for me all the time, because it literally applies to everything. But me having a choice, there's such a power in choice that gets me through as well, because it helps me to remember the strength that I have, that I can make my own decisions about how I want my life to be. I can decide if I want to be sad. I can decide if I want to be happy. I can decide to just fall to the wayside and let things come against me and not fight back. Or I can decide to fight like hell. It's up to you. And those are my two biggest mantras that really just get me through the day. And I think mantras are so special because they can be decided for you. Whatever mantra gets you through, that's going to help you every single day. And I repeat them all the time, every morning, like, what God has for me is for me today. Let's go. Let's go conquer the day. Let's kick butt.
And you said something that needs to be like triple underlined for everybody. You said whether it's something that is good or something that I perceive to be bad. And I think that that is so important, because we forget sometimes, and I feel like it's a humbling thing to really sit with, and it's so freaking hard, especially for like the really, really hard stuff.
Yes.
But we went through that. My daughter was born 2 months early, and she was in the NICU for 73 days. Like I almost died. Wow. She almost died. It was like a whole thing. And I just had like a gut feeling in that. I started sharing about it on social media because I had this feeling. I was like, I don't think this is just for me. Like, I don't like, it is for me, for growth in some way, but like, I'm meant to go through this horrible thing for some reason. And I kept trying to remind myself of that, because I was like, I don't just want to say like, take it away, God, take it away, God, take it away, God, because he gave it to me for some reason. So it's not on me to try to even understand or like make sense of the reason, because that's not our job. That's his job. So I think that's like so important, because we look at things as like, oh, this sucks. This is terrible. Like, give me a different deck of cards or a different hand, God. Like, I hate it. Give me something else. Instead of trying to make use of it in some way, trusting that it is there for a reason, even in like the worst circumstances. Like, I pray we aren't in this situation to know how bad it could get, because obviously some people do, but like just praying for the humility to sit with it and be like, all right, like this is the cup that I have to drink right now.
Exactly.
Let me get through it with grace.
Yeah, right. And Erica, when I say that a lot of the things that I went through with the separation of me and my long-term boyfriend and becoming a single mom, and we are great. Like, let me make sure I emphasize that. He is an awesome father. We co-parent greatly, but to go through something that I considered really bad, I don't think I would be able to be where I am today if that had not happened. And I feel like there are certain things that God sets up in your life, the universe sets up in your life to happen to you so that you provide a testimony. One of my favorite things to say as well is that I am so grateful for this test because I'm able to provide my testimony. And I feel like whenever I go through a different test, a different trial in my life, it provides a testimony for other people, because no one goes through something completely by themselves. You're not going to go through death. You're not going to go through loss of relationships. You're not going to go through losing very valuable things, your house, your job, whatever the case may be. All of those are really big milestone tests. But if you can come out of that and still be able to be like, hey, I made it, what a testimony. What great testimony you have now with something that was so bad, and you're able to not only uplift others, but show others like, hey, you can make it. You can do this. And regardless of how difficult it may have been, even with loss or anything like that, there's such a power and understanding that although it was bad, there's always some good that comes. There's always silver lining in the dark clouds. And so, like the loss of my grandmother, was devastated by that. That was something that was bad for me. And I had to realize, I don't think I would have appreciated all that she had done, her wisdom, her love, and I would not have had that same relationship and thinking of her if she was still here today. I don't think I would be as grateful for the times that I have with my daughter, or to share the experience of who she was. I don't even think I would have named my daughter after my grandmother. I probably would have named her something stupid and been mad at myself 20 years later. But because that bad moment happened, it shifted my thought process and made some really positive things. Like, now my kid got a really cute name. I love Hazel. It's super cute. Would have had something stupid beforehand. So I just literally have to think of things like that. Like, it could have been bad, but what is the good that came out of that? And I also believe in just severing certain ties. You think it's bad, but sometimes that's a God thing. Sometimes God is like, you're looking at it as a bad situation, but I separated you on purpose, baby. I had to remove you on purpose. You're thinking this is bad, but I'm thinking this is great. This is exactly what I needed to do for you. So don't take every bad situation as just all bad. Sometimes it is a divine decision out of your control. It's not that bad, actually.
Oh, so good. Okay, I need to ask you something I ask every guest on Thrive. What does thrive mean to you, and how do you strive to thrive in your everyday life?
Thriving. And I use that word a lot, Erica. In my I strive and thrive and push. Thriving for me is like overcoming. Like, it's almost synonymous with overcoming obstacles, overcoming battles, overcoming really tough situations. So when I thrive through something, that means I've reached the highest level of success. And whatever was thrown my way, I was able to overcome that and reach that mountaintop. Like, I'm thriving in my life. I am moving forward. I'm striving to a new level. And it feels so good, because it's just such a peaceful feeling when you feel like I've overcome that. I've thrived through that. I've made it to the other side. And that's what thriving just means to me. And the word thrive is just so empowering. So whenever you asked me to be on your podcast and it was called Thrive, I was like, this is just what was meant to be, because this is exactly the kind of content, the kind of love that I want to share with the world. And I just love what you're doing, and really appreciate you for being just a warrior out there with me to just empower people. Because there's enough negative fools out here.
So true. It's so true. Okay, no pressure, but can you close us out with a Mama Lo chit chat talk, pep talk for the girls listening in who need to go forth and thrive?
Well, for anyone who may be listening today, I want you to understand how much power that you have. There is such a power that you have within inside of you to not only make decisions, to not only to take choices into your own hands, but to just thrive through every single day. And I know there's a lot of things that may be going on. There might be a lot of things that are coming at you, but understand this. It's not a bad day. It's a bad moment. And that you have the choice to decide how you are going to persevere through whatever is thrown your way. And I also want you to understand how much power that you have that you may not even understand. For example, like today, I just talked to all of my people on TikTok and told them, listen, you are going to be pushing every single day to be a better you, period. You're going to be pushing every single day. Every day is not a failure, okay? You're going to fall on your face a lot on this journey to strive to the end, to make it, to have a positive mindset. But it is only failure if you lay there and don't get up. Get up, keep thriving. It will be a failure if you decide to stay there. But you've never failed in life because you kept going every single day. You have not given up. So there's no failure in this. Go conquer today. And I love you so much. That's all I got, Erica.
You just took us to church. Okay, tell everybody where they can find you online, to connect with you, to follow you, all that good stuff.
Awesome. If you are looking for me, I am on TikTok at hi_I'm low. That's HI_IMLO. That handle is for everything. For Instagram, it's the exact same thing, at hi I'm low. You can find me on Facebook, Low Casey, LO, and then KASIE. And I also have a YouTube that I haven't really been working on, but I should be putting some new stuff out there for you guys soon.
Wait, before you go, make sure you're subscribed to never miss an episode of Thrive. Drop 5 stars on your way out if you like what you just listened to, and come join the party on Instagram at thrive.podcast to stay inspired and thriving all week long. Thanks for tuning in. It's your time to thrive.